Hi, I'm Kate. Today I will be doing a biomechanical analysis on standing long jump. This is the deterministic model of standing long jump. So the goal in standing long jump is to achieve maximum horizontal displacement. So that means in order to achieve a powerful jump, you need to jump from a standing start with maximum effort, and you are also using the muscle in your lower body to generate as much force as possible in a very short amount of time. To generate a lot of force in a short amount of time contributes to the initial acceleration, so the takeoff velocity in standing long jump will increase. A rapid application of force also allows the jumper to accelerate and maintain higher speeds, which leads to cover more horizontal distance in a short time. In a standing long jump, the mass of the person jumping remains constant, and according to Newton's second laws of motion, force equals mass times acceleration. An increase in force with mass held constant will lead to an increase in acceleration. When you perform standing long jump, the leg muscle requires power to transfer energy and release maximum force at a fast rate. When you jump, you need to exert a stronger force against the ground to propel yourself in a horizontal direction. This is very important to overcome the initial inertia and the initial motion. The equation for power is power equals force times velocity. So if the power is increased, the power allows the jumper to generate more force and speed, which will contribute to achieving greater horizontal displacement in standing long jump. Also, because power is the rate at which work is done, so work equals force times displacement. When you perform standing long jump, the force increases, mass stays constant, so the linear acceleration will increase, and the takeoff velocity will increase as well. When a person jumps, their body gains kinetic energy. If you increase the power output, you can use more kinetic energy, so you will have more force and acceleration to propel your body forward to achieve a greater horizontal displacement. The equation of kinetic energy is shown on the slide. So in this case, the mass stays constant. So if the kinetic energy increases by generating more power and acceleration, the velocity will also increase. As a result of an increase in kinetic energy, this will lead to an increase in momentum, as the equation shows that momentum equals mass times velocity. So this means that the increasing of power allows for utilization of more kinetic energy to achieve higher velocities and a greater momentum and horizontal displacements. The faster the center of mass is moving at the takeoff, the greater the jump distance. This is because a faster moving center of mass creates more kinetic energy and momentum. Also, when the jumper's tongue leaves the ground, they carry forward the momentum they had built up during the approach to the jump, and then the momentum is converted into greater horizontal displacement during the jump. The swinging of the arm gives the jumper's body additional momentum, which in turn increases the takeoff velocity. According to the equation for momentum, momentum equals mass times velocity. In the context of a standing long jump, the mass of the jumper remains constant, so any increase in momentum directly results in an increase in velocity. This means that when jumpers bend down and swing their arms, the arm swing generates a downward force at the shoulder on the rest of the body during the propulsion phase, which slows the shortening velocity of the lower body joint extensions and allows for greater muscle torque production. The higher force leads to greater ground reaction forces and impulse, which also increase the momentum. The greater the momentum will result in the increase of takeoff velocity and a greater horizontal displacement. The muscle crosses the shoulder and elbow joints do work and impact energy that is transferred to the rest of the body. This added energy of the system may serve to increase the horizontal and vertical disciplines, and arguments the velocity of the center of gravity at takeoff. The study shows that if the jumper performs high squat before takeoff will result in further horizontal displacement than perform low squats. High squat generates a larger joint torque and allows for more rapid downward movement, and the jumper's center of mass will move downward faster before joint extension. The study also found out that an increase in takeoff speed will increase the horizontal velocity at takeoff. This is because when the jumpers start with a smaller knee bend, there's less room for their knees to move in an opposite direction. This means that their knee doesn't move backward much, which results in less force being generated to extend the knee. So if the jumper allows their hip to bend actively, it helps them to generate a stronger backward motion in the hip. This creates more force for extending the hip joints, and this larger force generated at the joints help them jump with a greater speed. During the push-off phase, the force generated by the jumper needs to overcome their body weight as the force of gravity pulling them down, and they also need to overcome their inertia. The table 1 shows that when a participant performs a lower takeoff angle, which is 33 degrees, they achieve the furthest jump distance, which is 2.34 meters. However, when a participant uses a higher takeoff angle, which is 39 degrees in this case, the jump distance was shorter, which is 2.13 meters. This is because when jumpers try to jump at higher angles, they need to work harder to lift their body against gravity, because when a jump at a higher angle will require more muscle power to go upward, which increasing potential energy but leaving less force for moving forward. This means that there will be less force left for accelerating the body horizontally. The table also shows that the takeoff angle increases, the takeoff speed decreases. This is because when jumpers jump at a high angle, the jumper will need to use more of their muscle power to lift their body against gravity, which means that the takeoff speed decreases with increasing takeoff angle. The table shows that the vertical ground reaction force of 90 degrees of initial knee angle is 0.47% of body weight higher than the 45 degrees of knee angle. This means that the jumper generates more upward force against the ground with a 90-degree knee angle, which allows for a stronger push-off. So having less horizontal force limits the jumper's distance. When the jumper starts with a 90-degree knee angle, they achieve a takeoff velocity that is 2.4 meters per second, higher than when starting with a 45-degree knee angle. In a 90-degree knee angle, both the vertical and the horizontal impulses are higher. This is because when a jumper starts with a 90-degree knee bend, it increases the time that leg muscles can apply force against the ground. The higher impulse in a 90-degree knee angle means that the jumper applies a greater force to the ground over the longer time during the push-off. This leads to a larger change in momentum, which translates to higher takeoff velocity. So this results in 90-degree knee flexion angle perform a better jump distance compared to a 45-degree knee angle. To make sure accurate motion tracking, markers should be directly attached to the skin and shoes of the jumper, with distinct colors for visibility. These markers are positioned on the right side of the body at the key joints. The jumper's starting position must have both feet behind the takeoff line, and the takeoff and the landing should involve both feet at the same time, making sure that even heel placement. Motion recording should be in slow motion with a clear and focused background. If recording indoor, consistent and accurate lighting is important for visibility. iPad should be mounted on rigid tripod, placed perpendicular to the motion plane. For my performance of standing long jump, I use free arm swing during takeoff to create a counterbalancing torque, which helped me to counteract the natural rotational forces that tend to push the body backward as my leg extend. By balancing these forces, I can maintain better stability. On the other hand, by extending the arm in a coordinated manner with the leg extension, this helps me to enhance the angular momentum, and this increased angular momentum allows for a more controlled and efficient transition from a vertical push-off to forward projection. This helped me to perform better results of horizontal distance during the jump. When I began my jump from a higher squat position, my body was closer to its full extension. This provided a greater range of motion for my leg joints and muscles. This allowed me to maximize the potential stored in my leg muscles and joints, leading to a more explosive and effective takeoff. This increased torque gave me the extra boost needed for both speed and distance, so resulting in a better standing long jump performance. In my standing long jump performance, my takeoff angle was measured at 62.1 degrees, which is significantly higher than the optimal takeoff angle of 19 degrees. Because my takeoff angle is higher, lots of portion of the force I generated during the push-off was dedicated to overcoming the force of gravity. So I had to work harder against gravity to lift my body upward. This means there are less force remained available for generating forward momentum. In my jump performance, I performed a really high initial knee flexion angle of 115 degrees. This knee angle has a really good impact on my jump performance. My high knee flexion angle facilitated a more explosive leg extension during takeoff. As a result, my takeoff velocity was higher. This is because the greater the knee bend, the more potential energy I store, and upon release, this energy translated into a higher takeoff velocity. This combination of higher force and increased time produced both a greater vertical and horizontal impulse. To improve my performance, I need to adjust my takeoff angle towards the optimal 19 degrees, because when I jump with a very high takeoff angle, it means that I am launching more vertically into the air. This makes me go upward instead of going forward. With a high angle, my vertical velocity increases, but my horizontal velocity might not be as strong.